Welcome students to another in our Investigating Science series. Today our focus is on forms and sources of energy. What did you use to give you energy? You probably ate some breakfast, right? Why do we need energy? Let us explore. So today we're looking at the different forms and sources of energy. Is energy important? What would happen if we had no source of energy? What would happen to life? These are some of the things I want you to think about as we try to answer why energy is important. So, if you did not eat, you will not get any energy, and so you will not be able to work. You would not be able to carry out your daily activities. You would not be able to move. And so we can basically decide that energy is important for work. And so energy comes in many different forms and from many different sources. So the first and major source of energy is that's right, it is the sun. So the sun is a source of energy. What are the forms of energy that we get from the sun? Let's think about it. From the sun, as we wake up in the morning, we see that the sun provides us with light. So the sun is a source of light energy. We also have that if we're in the sun for a long time, well, for any portion of time, we find out that we will get a little warmer. So the sun is also a source of heat energy. So heat energy, light energy are forms of energy. So let us investigate a bit further. I have with me a flashlight, right? So this is the flashlight. I'm not sure if you can see the light when I turn it on. So the flashlight, right? Turn it off, turn it back on. You will see that the flashlight is a source, in this case, of energy. Okay? It is able to produce light. And we just said earlier that light is a form of energy. Where is that flashlight getting that energy from? Where is it coming from? That energy is coming from the battery that is within the flashlight. So this is an example of a battery. Of course, we have many different types, right, and brands. So the battery has some energy stored in it. So the battery has stored energy. We call that, what form of energy is that? We call that chemical energy. So the battery has chemical energy, and when it is used by the flashlight produces light energy. Now what about the foods that you eat? I have here a nice, good looking Irish potato. Do we get energy from food? Yes, we do. So when I eat this potato, the energy that is stored in this potato is used by my body to carry out its different functions. What is the type of or the form of energy that is in this potato? That form of energy is called chemical energy. Very good. So we have so far identified that we have light energy, heat energy, those are forms. We have also identified that the battery and the potato they have chemical energy. So we have 3 forms already. Now, if I should plug in my iron, so please don't try this without some supervision from your parents or your teacher. When you plug in your iron, right? Okay, so after a while, if I plug in my iron, after a while, and remember you're not supposed to try this, you will find that the surface becomes hot. So the iron, right, is plugged in, it is using electricity, and so it is using electrical energy, right? So the iron is using electrical energy, and of course, when we use it on our clothes, it produces heat, and so we get heat energy. Good? So we have heat energy, electrical energy from our iron. All right. Candles, we can guess what the energy is from the candle. So if we light our candle, again, you're not supposed to be lighting anything without your parents or teacher's supervision. The candle is now a source of light energy. And if you should pass your hand briefly over it, it feels warm, so it's also a source of heat energy. So notice we're identifying sources and we're identifying forms of energy. All right, last thing we're looking at, I have this timer. I'm not sure you will actually hear it. So let's see if you can hear that timer. That timer, can you hear it? That timer is making a sound. Listen. So the timer is giving out sound energy. And if we were to see what was happening inside the timer, we would actually see that there's something moving. So this dot is moving. It's going to make a much bigger sound. And that movement is also a form of energy. We would call it mechanical energy. So the timer, with the device that is in it that's moving, is going to produce sound energy, and of course there is mechanical energy involved when it shakes. All right? So definitely we have shown that energy comes from different sources. The sun is a major source of energy. We get solar energy from the sun, and it comes in the form of light and heat. And we also have electrical energy. Oh dear, I didn't plug out my iron. Using our appliances, and heat energy is produced, right? We'll soon get the sound from this, hopefully. We have stored energy in our battery and in our food. We call that chemical energy. And of course, our flashlight is able to produce light energy, and in some cases you can also feel the heat from it. So light and heat energy. And finally, our candle, when we lit it with a match, was able to produce light energy and heat energy. So there we have it. Forms and sources of energy. Again, energy is necessary for us to carry out our activities, for us to do work. Okay, without these sources of energy, we would not be able to accomplish anything. That's all for today. catch you next time on Investigating Science.